So I'm going to be showing you guys my Guyver DVD collection here. I have both films on DVD, the Guyver and the Guyver 2, which is also known as Guyver Dark Hero. And I enjoy both of these films for what they are. You know, they're guilty pleasures. They're campy, they're silly, they're over the top when it comes to, whether it's acting or just the action scenes. But I get some enjoyment out of these films. It's not something that gets really talked about a lot, especially nowadays. But it's based off a anime and manga, which are a lot better than the actual live-action films. I wish they would make a remake to the Guyver. I think it's, with the right technology and the right actors involved and writing, I think you could make something really cool. Like I always said that if they made an updated version of Guyver similar to, Iron Man, with the special effects and everything, I think you could have something that's more mainstream and, make Guyver, more well known. I truly believe Guyver has a lot of potential to be bigger than what it is. But with these films, they're low budget, direct to video. They're fine for what they are, And I grew up watching these films. I didn't discover them early on. I wasn't even aware that both these films came out in the early 90s. I believe I caught these films I want to say the late 90s, early 2000s. I caught these films. So I discovered them later. And the first film, which has Mark Hamill in it apparently has a $3 million budget, but yet it seems like it's got a lower budget than the second film. Maybe because it costs more to have Mark Hamill star in this film. I don't know why the budget is more than the sequel's budget. But yeah, I mean, the story is so simple. It's just, aliens turn humans into monsters, basically. They make humans into zoonoids. And they also have this corporation called Kronos that wants to get this Guyver unit, this weapon. They want to get a hold of it. It's this weapon that was alien made, and so happens that this kid named Sean discovers it, and it latches onto him and becomes a part of him, part of his armor, and helps him fight against the zoonoids, these people that are really monsters when they transform. So yeah, I mean, it's a pretty simple premise. You got them doing experiments with people, especially towards the end. Mark Hamill's character gets experimented on once he gets captured, because he's like a cop, gets captured, and they turn him into this giant cockroach. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I want to say the one guy from Good Times is in this. He always says dynamite, in that show. So he says that in this movie as well. But yeah, I mean, the acting is pretty campy. It's not very good actors in this film, especially Sean's girlfriend. Yeah, she's definitely overacting. Everyone's pretty much overacting. Even Mark Hamill wasn't at his best with his acting in this film. But regardless of, how simple the story is and the acting involved, I do have to say I find some of the humor kind of funny, even though it's kind of silly and over the top. I find it kind of funny, and, the action scenes are nice. And even the practical effects with the zoonoids and the, how they looked, it looks okay for low budget. And the movie's not very long. It's maybe an hour and 30 minutes long. So it's nicely edited, gets to the point. So, I mean, I enjoy it for what it is. The sequel is a lot better, though. But after rewatching these films recently, the only problem I have with the sequel is it's too long. It's like 2 hours and 8 minutes long. That's like at least over half an hour longer than the first film. It feels like it needs to be edited. Even though this film is rated R, it's got more like gore in it. It's more violent than the first film. I believe the first film had some gore in it, but the director's cut of this film edited out the gore in it, maybe to make it as a PG-13 movie. I'm not quite sure when it comes to the history of this film, the first film, because I guess the VHS had scenes that showed a little more like gore, a little bit violence, but the director's cut edits that stuff out. So, I mean, I seen this on VHS back in the day, but I couldn't tell you what scenes have been cut out, just from what I've read online, but it could have benefited at least with a little bit of gore in it. So I guess the director decided to cut that stuff out, but this definitely has a lot of gore in it. But the only problem with it, the fight scenes, with the action scenes and everything, which are really cool. Like the fighting in this film was a lot better, but it's few and far in between. That's the only problem I have with this film. Now, the story's better than the first film. The acting is better than the first film. But it's just one of those things that needs to be edited. It's just too long. And the whole archaeological dig, Sean goes to this place and this alien ship is basically calling him, And of course, there's, what they're digging for. They think it's fossils of like dinosaurs, and really it's fossils of zoanoids, So, yeah, I mean, it's not the most, complex script ever to be made, but I mean, it's technically better written than the first film, but at the same time, it's one of those movies that could be edited. And the major thing about the sequel was the ending, when a Zoanoid combines with a Guyver unit. So it's a whole new hybrid. And it's like this dark Guyver Zoanoid combined into one. So it's kind of like evolution, And so, this Guyver has to fight this dark Guyver, So that is like the major highlight of the film, is the ending with the fight scenes, and that's really freaking awesome. And even with the Guyver fighting the Zoanoids, whenever there is fight scenes in the second film, it's cool as well. But I just wish that the movie was a little shorter and you saw more of that, because it can drag a little bit. But I have to say the acting is better than in the second film than, the first film. So you can kind of take the second film a little more seriously than the first film, because the first films, they rely a lot of like campy, silly, over-the-top humor. The second film has a little humor, but it's trying to take itself a little bit more seriously, even though it's still kind of campy still, because it's a low-budget film. But regardless, I enjoy both of these films. If you haven't seen them, check it out. The original anime of Guyver and the manga is superior than live-action films. But I can enjoy the live-action films for what they are. It's too bad we didn't get more films of this, or a remake. I think Guyver would benefit with a remake, with a bigger budget, better written story, better actors, bigger studio. I think Guyver should be more well known because he's a cool character. It's an interesting storyline. But anyways, this is what I have here. Both films on DVD. And the first film looks amazing on DVD. It looks like almost like Blu-ray or 4K picture quality. I don't know if it's remastered or what's going on, but I was watching this the other day and it looks amazing on DVD. The picture quality is really good. Second film's not as good with the picture quality, but there's some scenes that look really good that stand out. But yeah, these are older DVDs. I don't think they've released the second film on Blu-ray. I believe the first film has been released on Blu-ray. But I'm fine with these for the time being. But yeah, this is the Guyver DVD collection that I have, both films. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll talk to you later sometime soon. All right, take care.